Good morning. You're listening to Drinking Socially, the official Untapped podcast.
Your weekly look into what's happening in the Untapped community and the world of beer.
This episode is brought to you by Untapped and the Untapped store. Use the coupon code podcast like you normally do to get 20% off of your next purchase. And special alert, if you're looking to spread the love, you can also shop at Hop Culture. Harrison's showing off some pretty cool magnets from them on the YouTube channel, and the Beer Advocate stores right now as well. Lots of fun, lots of new stuff, glassware, magnets, t-shirts.
Ooh.
Magnets don't stick to glassware, so they're safe to package together. And most exciting, you can still save money by using the coupon code Beer Monday. That's going to get you 20% off in Hop Culture and Beer Advocate stores now through December 10th. So there's only a few days left, but that coupon code Beer Monday is going to get you 20% off at Beer Advocate or Hop Culture as well. So thanks for listening. Happy holidays. Like us, follow us, do your thing.
All right, so I've got a lot of questions today, John. If Oktoberfest is Lager Christmas, then what is National Lager Day? Besides, the penultimate day in the year of the lager. My first guess is it's probably kind of like a birthday, like Lager's birthday, but that doesn't make sense because Lagers didn't start here. So I couldn't figure out the origins or any of that, but I was trying to think instead, how would one celebrate? Like, what traditions could there be? Beyond the obvious. Couldn't find anything about that online either. So I figured I'll just make some up, but I'm going to share them with you now. So maybe, let's just stay with me here, John. We're going to go on a journey. So maybe every National Lager Day, everyone in the neighborhood leaves a cold, crispy boy on the front porch of the guy with the biggest lawnmower in the neighborhood. And in exchange, he promises not to mow the lawn before 9 a.m. for a whole another year. Maybe it's more mischievous. Maybe National Lager Day is just to hide a lager somewhere in the house. And the first person to find it has to climb to the roof and they drink it. And they yell that they're the lager king of the town or something.
That should be every day. I love it.
You're right. For some people it is. Oh, man. But maybe it's simpler. Perhaps you just take like a self-care lager bath. You light some candles, put on some polka, vibe out, cover yourself in some cold suds. Or maybe if you're leaving the house, you just put on your lager pants, which is just the pair of pants you own with the most pockets. Then you fill those pockets with cans of lager. Or if you're like me and basically have a home life that's a tornado of chaos made of humans and animals and somebody complaining about something, maybe National Lager Day is the time when you enjoy your lager in the quiet, dark, well-insulated, kind of comfortable, if you don't think about it too much, broom closet as you ignore for a few moments the multiple family members calling your name asking you to help with something. I feel like there's no wrong way to enjoy it, but it could be up to all of us, we drinking socialites, to create some widespread traditions others can follow. So if you have some good ideas, comment on this video, send us a DM on Untapped or Instagram. As always, tag us in your check-ins to celebrate on December 10th, this Friday, all things lager. And I'm happy to report this year I get to skip out on a peaceful closet beer. We are fortunate enough to be rich with Pilsners right now, thanks to our friends at Halftime Beverage. I look forward to cracking a few open with you, John, and enjoying a well-earned day Pilsner with Chris Weiss, the Director of Marketing for Halftime. We're talking about their amazing gift boxes you can and you should get right now, and their involvement in Hop Culture and Halftime's Beer Meme Awards. Those are going on right now. You can enter. But first, John, break down this National Lager Day badge for us. What's happening?
Happy to do so, and also happy to drink lagers in your broom closet / office anytime.
Right. Good.
National Lager Day takes place on December the 10th. this year, 2021. What'll happen when you unlock this badge, or what'll help you learn how to unlock this badge, is Untapped will award you with the badge once you've gotten it. Now that you're confused, Untapped will tell you this is a crisp and refreshing lagers are the best beers to enjoy at a backyard barbecue, or even just at the end of a long workday. Cheers to that. Celebrate National Lager Day by drinking a lager, whether it's a dark dunkel or a light pilsner. Today, show your lager love. So, how do you earn this badge? Well, check into a lager, a pilsner, even a Baltic porter. Check in at the beer style driven badge, unlock it. You can do it in your broom closet. If you have Wi-Fi in there, you can check in with Harrison. Or I really like the idea of a neighborhood lawnmower beer donation.
Yeah, could be good. Could be great. Could be great for the guy doing the mowing, great for the whole neighborhood, the quietness. But then that one year everybody forgets inevitably creates a horrible tornado of mowing chaos that never ends. So don't forget, that's an important thing about traditions. If you do it, keep doing it. Because even if it feels like no one cares, the one year you stop, some guy is going to come out of the woodwork and say, what the heck? Why are the beers out on my porch? So don't let that happen to you. Don't let it happen. A lot of weight can weigh on the shoulders of someone bound by tradition, but doesn't stop us. So something that speaking of things that I love, like being weighed down by traditions, what I do love is lagers, and almost as much as laughing. So nothing gets my sides splitting faster than a good old-fashioned meme or meme. I heard a great story. The guy who invented memes went around saying they were called memes forever just to troll everybody. So that's
perfect.
Amazing. Sounds about right. Doesn't matter how you call them. I know John loves them too. We're not alone. So when the idea of creating a beer meme awards over at Hop Culture first surfaced, we knew exactly who we wanted to team up with. It was Halftime Beverage. We've got to know the Halftime guys really well over the past couple of years. And you probably have too. If the name kind of sounds familiar and you participated in any of Untapped or Beer Advocate or Hop Culture's virtual festivals over the past 2 years, that beer came from Halftime, which is really cool. And John and I were lucky enough to host a couple of them, or cider, I should say, the cider and hard seltzer one. That was quite the weekend of bandanas and Prince music and drinking smoothies with booze in them. A lot of Lisa Frank, sure, yeah. Lisa Frank was strong in the room that weekend. But yeah, the Halftime was always up for a good time. So it made sense to reach out to them and say, hey, we're doing these beer memes. We want to be a part of it. And they were like, yep, let's do it. Let's have some fun. On top of all that, they also made it really easy to celebrate National Lager Day this year by sending John and I over their premium Pilsners gift box. So I hung out with Chris the other day to talk a little bit about memes, but more about beer and a lot about how Halftime is basically the Toys R Us version of a beer store. So take a listen. Hey, Chris, how's it going today?
Hey, what's up, Harrison?
Just living the dream, one delicious Pilsner at a time.
There you go. That's about all you can ask for, huh?
I know, right? And I'm rich in Pilsners right now. You guys are too kind, sending all these beers to us. And we're going to drink one right now that I have heard a ton about that you recommended we enjoy. So let's start with a beer. We have Rothaus Pils.
All right. Is it your first time having it?
Let's do it. Let's open it up. Yeah, it's my first time having it. Yes, it is. So I've heard about it. I have friends who I trust in the beer world that are like, this is the perfect Pilsner. This is the perfect German Pilsner. There's a bit of a cult following around it. You may know more than me or some more about it.
I mean, just from drinking copious amounts of it, you might say, and admiring the beautiful label.
I know. I love this.
Maybe it's most memorable part, even more so than the beer. It just looks so classic.
I know. And it's also known as the Tannenzapfel. I'm probably saying that kind of wrong, but you see that on the beer. So Rothaus Pils or Tannenzapfel. And I learned Tannenzapfel just means little fir cone. You see those little like fir tree cones there. And I guess that also refers to the shape of the bottle. I don't know. Anyway,
I'm learning something now too.
Right. So we're learning German today. But I mean, this is right. It's a beer that's the recipe's been around since like the 1800s. It's been brewed in the same brew house in Germany since the 1950s. And I always get excited when, you can talk all day about imperial stouts that have a hype following, but when somebody says, hey, this Pilsner has a secret cult following, I'm like, oh, tell me what makes that's kind of crazy. That's not a style of beer you hear people freaking out about all the time. So
right. There's no bells and whistles with the Pilsner.
Right. But that's okay. So it smells amazing. Let's dive in here. You've already started.
Yeah, I'm way ahead of you. I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
No, don't apologize at all. Yep, sticks right to the mustache. So that's box number 1 checked off. Ooh. Wow.
Nice lemongrass notes.
Yeah, tons of lemongrass. I love I don't know if it's a quote from the brewery or from a fan of it, but I came across this online when researching this beer a bit. It says that it perfectly balances between the South German playful sweetness, whatever that means, and the North German clean bitterness. And I get it. That's what's happening, right? It's like, as you said, lemongrassy. It's dry. Like, that's one of the best parts about a good Pilsner is like that dry finish, but it's so crisp. You're like, my mouth feels parched because of the dry hops doing what they're doing, but I'm going to drink it again. It's one of those self-fulfilling prophecies. It's why these beers go down so easy. One of the reasons you're just like, oh, I need another drink of this because the hops are parching me. So geniuses, those who invented the Pilsner, and I'm happy to be drinking one of the best ones. Again, there are tons of articles about it. If you guys out there haven't heard of Rothaus Pils, again, you should check it out. You can jump onto Halftime's website and get a couple bottles of it right now. You can get this whole premium Pilsner package that I have. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, this is like the perfect Pilsner. And we've done a couple Pilsners on this podcast before. And John and I have kind of come to the conclusion that it's almost like a really great cheeseburger. Like, you don't need a great cheeseburger can be like cheese and a burger on a bun, and that could like blow you away if it's just done really well. That's kind of what's going on here, right? It's like not crazy, like you said, not a lot of bells and whistles, but it's like, wow, this is delicious.
It's a pretty good analogy. Right. Like while the ingredients of a cheeseburger are not complex, the spectrum of like mediocrity to greatness is so wide.
So yes, perhaps the cheeseburger of beer, I'll leave that up to the drinker to decide. But I mean, my goodness, this is, it's one that was been on my bucket list for a bit, and now I have it thanks to you. So I appreciate it.
Glad we can make your dreams come true, Harrison.
Oh, a lot of dreams. That's right. You guys are making a lot of people's dreams come true, especially people that like to laugh. So obviously we're going to talk about Pilsners today because it is National Lager Day in just a few days. But we're also going to talk about beer memes, which I'm familiar with memes in general. And when someone said, Hop Culture is doing a Beam Awards, is they're the sponsor, I was like, are there that many beer memes? And then I kind of went digging. I was like, oh my gosh, some of my favorite memes are beer memes or have to do with beer. I think the category is purposefully a bit broad, which is good. I like to be creative. But do you have a favorite one that comes to mind, Chris? Like a favorite beer meme?
Oh, I sure do, Harrison. This is one that I think about still all to this day, all the time.
Yeah.
Even though it's not super relevant in the news anymore, but it's kind of a riff off of all those memes that people were making when Trump was signing all those executive orders at the beginning of his term and showing them to the cameras, and then people would just Photoshop whatever they wanted onto them.
Right.
Somebody, I think it was Don't Drink Beers, I could be wrong, made a meme where he's showing the cameras his untapped badge collection.
Right.
Super fitting because, if Trump was a beer drinker, a craft beer drinker, I think he doesn't drink at all, but if he was, that is probably something he would do. He'd be showing off his badges.
Yeah, he'd brag. He's got more than anybody. I think you're onto something there. I think you're right. I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't drink beer. I think they did that. Those guys are always doing funny stuff. That's great. Mine's the drunk baby, which is like the little baby outside the pub talking about, I don't know, funny baby things. Like one of my favorite ones had to do with peekaboo. Like kind of explaining to his other baby friends, I guess, that I kid you not, he said peekaboo and he magically appeared. So I don't know. I laugh easily. Everyone who listens to the show knows that. But if you guys are funnier than me, which is probably true, you can let the world know that. You can enter. You have until December 10th at like midnight, or technically 11:59 p.m. EST, to enter into the 2021 Beer Meme Awards to show off your stuff. And the winner gets a $250 halftime gift card, which is amazing. Oh, that was so right. And I was in the meeting at work when that was announced, and everyone was like, Harrison, are you going to try and win now? And I was like, can I? And they said no. So that was my first thought. Don't think that's allowed, right? I don't think I want to do that. So I will, but happy to instead take this as my prize. So let's talk about what I'm enjoying today. I think one of the coolest parts about, so everyone knows this who's an Untapped fan, but like halftime has been a really crucial part for Untapped's virtual fests, for beer advocates. Like you guys supply so much of the beer for so many of the virtual things you've done over the past 18 months or so. And I love that whenever we get to talk, it's like, hey, I'm having this beer from halftime, and you guys listening, jump on the website and get it. You ship to so many states. It's like this interactive experience that I can have with people all over the country. Even if they're not near the halftime locations, they just jump on your website and they get this stuff sent to their door, and we can all drink the same beers across the U.S. So that's been so cool. And we're doing it again today. You're having a beer, we're states away. So I want to talk about this box. And it's not, box is like an understatement. It's beautiful. Look at this thing. This is going to be with me forever. I've got a mobile beer fridge, which is my wife's worst nightmare, but that's okay. And it's full of like world-class beer. And you guys can jump on, we'll put the link in the show notes, but you can jump on to Halftime's website right now and go grab some of these yourself. But it's American Pilsners. There's some German, obviously, like Bitburger, the one we're doing right now as well, the Rathaus, Weinstefan. So tell me about this. First of all, how many gift boxes do you guys have about, like at any given time at halftimebeverage.com?
Yeah, so I think last year we went a little bit crazy with our gift options. We had maybe like 20.
Wow.
That was a little unwieldy. But it was a good experiment. We got to see which ones people were actually psyched on, and we honed it in a little bit more this year.
Okay.
We're down to a mere 14 different options for craft beer and cider gift boxes this year.
I love that. That's right. Cider as well, of course. Are there any like you're really excited about this year? Anything you're like, ooh, that's the one? Or you kind of like, whatever you like, go for it?
Yeah, so we made one up this year that's kind of a new thing. It's called the Beer Nerd Signature Reserve box.
Ooh, okay.
I'm surprised you actually didn't ask for that one going into this interview.
Right.
But,
next time.
I know. That's pretty much like our White Glove Uber Deluxe option. And basically we just like put the coolest, hypiest, rarest, most sought after beers that we could find. And also the best tasting beers into this box. And so it's got some like heavy hitters like Hudson Valley, Other Half,
nice,
Mortalis, Grim, Evil Twin.
Yes,
and like everything in there has a super high Untapped rating. Thank you guys for supplying the rating system that is pretty much universal at this point.
Right.
Yeah, so like that one like is near and dear to my heart as just like a beer nerd myself.
Right.
It's just like that's what I would want as a gift probably from somebody.
I love this. That was definitely right. As I was looking through the gift boxes, that one jumped out to me. The Dark Side with a bunch of stouts and porters. That's one. Sour Power, obviously, like sour beers. We've probably all watched them growing popular the past couple of years to where they're they're now everywhere. And I remember a time not too long ago when people were like, these are gross and weird. I don't understand them. And now everybody wants them. So that's amazing. You guys have that too, right? It's got everything. The award-winning box, that was also one that people, I mean, really, they're all like, you know, what kind of mood are you in? Great, there's a box for that.
Pretty much. I mean, it's like you go to a diner and there's like 1,000 options.
Right.
We're trying to go for beer.
I know, doing it. You also have a non-alcoholic box. So if you're listening to this later in December and you're like, January, that's not.
That's true.
That's right. Not so fast. Have some on your Peloton. Enjoy a bunch of NA beers while you're treadmilling.
Something we might be gifting ourselves at the end of December, right?
Yeah, you know, never a bad idea. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I used to do it. I can't anymore. Beer is too much of my life.
Yeah, I'm the same boat.
But there really is something for everybody. And if boxes aren't your thing, you guys have just a huge online store. So you can go shop around, build your own, you know, all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, I mean, how I like to describe it to all of, you know, y'all's fans that have participated in all the beer festivals is that our website is kind of like a 24/7 beer festival.
Right. Yes.
Log on at 3 a.m. and like, well, yeah, you can't drink it on the spot, but it'll show up at your front door within a matter of days.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know. You can be kind to your future self and order some halftime whenever you're thinking about it, and then you get a surprise beer delivery, which has got to be the best delivery. I mean, I got a lot of
You forget that you ordered something and it just shows up.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? Another flat screen. No, this is better than that. This is always a good decision because it's beer. So let's talk about the Pilsner box that I have. So, or actually really all the boxes. Is that something you guys get together as a team and build? Is there like one person who's the box guru? What's the process like and like putting these all together and keeping them fresh and interesting?
Yeah, so we did hire for the position of box guru. I don't know how you knew that.
Well, yeah, I put my application in, but I guess it was just missed.
Right. No, I mean it's definitely a team effort, but I think most of the credit goes to our director of purchasing.
Okay.
His name is Adam. He's a great dude, one of my best friends,
Awesome.
and he does a great job really putting in the research and trying to figure out like how can we make a really well-rounded box.
Right.
Exceptional quality beers that is going to have something for everyone and still fit like a certain price threshold so that it's affordable.
Right.
It's like a really actually hard job to do, especially when we have like 20 boxes, but he kills it every year. Yeah.
I mean, again, they're always great. All the virtual ones for Untapped have been just fantastic. So, and Beer Advocate and the Hop Culture ones that I've been lucky to have too. I mean, it's you're right. It's a beer fest all the time. You can build your own or grab one that's, you know, Adam's already thrown together with a great thought and detail and enjoy it that way too. So that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, and again, so let's talk more about Pilsners. So this beer, and again, this has actually been the year of the lager on Drinking Socially. So we've done tons of lagers and Pilsners as much as we can. The Pilsner style though is always one that's kind of like an enigma almost. Obviously it's a lager, but some of them are hopped like IPAs and pale ales and stuff. Do you have like a beer drinker you recommend these to? They're kind of like an interesting style of beer. Or maybe someone that loves a Helles lager, this would be too hoppy. Someone like the pale ale, maybe this will interest them in a different way. What's your experience with kind of like the kind of people that drink Pilsners also drink X or anything like that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I always think about this one quote that I heard from a brewer. I think it might have been the brewer Dan Suarez of Suarez Family.
Yeah, sure. Right.
They're renowned.
There's a lot about Pilsners, yeah.
Yeah, they're known for making great Pilsners and lagers in general. And I think he said something along the lines of like, a good lager should not be the focus of conversation, but rather facilitate conversation.
Ooh.
You know, it kind of turns the whole thing on its head. Like, you know, as a beer fan, usually when I'm drinking a beer that's like really outstanding, I want to talk about it and describe it to my friends, and we argue about it. No, this isn't as good as the last one. And like, but he's so right with lagers. You really, you know, the simplicity. It's all about the simplicity, and it's so approachable that, you know, it really should not be the focal point. But that said, I just think it makes lagers are a great choice for anyone in their craft beer journey, whether you're just getting into beer and like don't even know the difference between any of the sub styles of Pilsner that you just mentioned.
Right.
Or you're someone like me who's like tried all the most extreme things, and now I feel like I've come full circle. And I'm just like, just give me like a really well crafted lager. I don't need 1,000 IBUs anymore. Yeah, so I think it's good for everyone. It honestly is, and I wouldn't say that about every style of beer, but Pilsner.
Right. Yes, I agree with everything you're saying. I feel like we've had other guests on, whether they be brewers or other people in the industry who share that similar sentiment, that point you made right at the end there about so many people on their craft beer journey have done it all, tasted it all, experienced it all, but now like want a great beer they can just have and not have to think about it too much. And a lot of them are coming to Pilsners or other kind of lagers. Lagers kind of having a moment. That's why we dedicated this season on Drinking Socially to it. It's just to draw more attention to that fact that if you're kind of wondering, all right, I've done pastry stouts and fruited sours, what's the next level? Maybe you're at the top for now. Maybe it's smooches or other things. Cool. But maybe that's like time to just do a reset and now drink a Pilsner again after experiencing all this other beer, and you'll probably look at it and experience it differently. And then, at the end of the day, it's just a great beer to enjoy. So we've been champions of it forever, but I love how you said it. I mean, you don't have to think about it. You have to, and that's okay.
It really is sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, that's great. All right, so we've been talking a lot about how you can jump on to halftimebeverage.com, get a ton of beers, get everyone in your family a gift box. But Halftime, it's not just the online store. I mean, you guys have actual locations in New York State. Where are they, and what is that like? If I like walk in the door there, what is going to happen in my brain? What am I going to see? Take me on this quest.
So your brain might actually explode. We don't recommend
I knew it.
People with sensitive brains. No, sensitive brain syndrome. I think that's the thing.
Right. That's
no. I mean, like people throw out terms like beer heaven and Candyland to describe our stores because. So I'm currently at the Mamaroneck, New York location, which is just outside of New York City.
Right.
And that's 22,000 square feet roughly of just immense aisles full of beer, all stocked to the brim with stuff that we've actually curated.
Yeah.
Here. It's not just like all comers.
Right.
I only want to have stuff that we find interesting and tasty. Yeah, and there really isn't a style or trend of beer that we don't carry.
Yeah.
For all the old school folks, we keep our Belgian Isles stocked up and have some crazy vintages of Trappist and Lambic stuff.
Ooh.
And for the quote unquote kids, we got all those hazies and smoothie sours and pastry stouts, because we love all that stuff too. Yeah. Cool. And then when it comes down to it, it's just as much about the staff, in my opinion.
Yes.
We have such a great company culture here, and everyone genuinely loves their job. When you walk in, I think that fun and inviting atmosphere is like tangible.
Yeah.
It's just a great environment.
Yeah. That's it should be on any beer fans beer list. If you're making a where can I go and I can travel all over again list, which I feel like I have 10 of them. Halftime should be on that. If you're heading towards New England, New York, the Northeast, drop it on your list because both locations are amazing. And yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like I've heard Toys R Us for beer. I've heard like a Willy Wonka for beer fans. It's got it, but it's all true. It's kind of unreal to walk in there and see as much as you guys have. So yeah, if you haven't been, you guys got to check it out.
Our other location is in Poughkeepsie, New York, I should mention, which is just about an hour and a half north of New York City.
Right, yeah. There you go. And Poughkeepsie's good because it's kind of right off a main highway. So if you're heading to Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont. You mean literally drive right by it, spend the afternoon there. You guys have tons of beer on tap too at both of them, which we'll talk about a little bit in the show. But it's not just bottles and cans. It's go ahead and grab more than that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean we fill crowlers and growlers. We're not allowed to serve beer, unfortunately, due to New York state law. But we pay a lot of attention to what beer we bring in on draft. I think right now we have Bourbon County 2017.
Yes.
And we have an other half Double Sunset Stout.
Whoa.
Which is,
that's
awesome.
amazing. Yeah, right, exactly. So, so plenty of lagers and pilsners, but also it's really, like you said, it's got everything for any beer fan, which is not surprising. So I feel fortunate to be, from afar enjoying these boxes you guys have curated many, many times. Super pumped to go through the rest of this one. Some of the rest of it, not all of it, with John. Now, and in closing, so I'd love to hear, we just talked about a ton about what you guys are doing now, have done, but 2022, it's like here already somehow. What's on the horizon for halftime? What are you guys excited about? What can you reveal, if anything, about what's coming up next year that's getting you guys pumped?
Totally. I think that a mobile app is on the horizon. Yeah. I think it's about time. We got the website ripping and roaring, so I think an app would just make things more. We're always about just making things easier to get beer to your front door. So if that's the way, then we're going to pursue that probably.
It probably
is. To open new retail locations as well.
Ooh.
That is a very interesting idea to us, and stay tuned. You might be hearing something about that in the future. We got some big plans.
Good. That's great. Well, I would expect nothing less. You guys always do a killer job with everything you do. So again, happy to be hanging out with you today, Chris. Thanks again, and cheers. Cheers, dude.
Hey, cheers, Harrison. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Wow, classic beer, fun times, and awesome quote from Dan Suarez. Remember, you guys can win that $250 gift card. Yes, you, the person listening to this voice right now, you're able to win $250 from halftime. So to enter the awards, just post your favorite beer meme, or if you want to earn my extra credit, create one of your own, set it up, post it on your Instagram account, and use the hashtag Beer Meme 2021. Hop Culture will be accepting entries for your favorite beer meme or the one you've created from December 1st at midnight on through basically 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 10th. So you've got plenty of time to hit the drawing board, get some fun meme things together. Maybe Harrison will give you an extra point if you use a Rush poster. Or put a man with a beard in there. The world is your meme oyster. So, make sure you use the hashtag BeerMeme2021 and maybe even spend the next couple of minutes thinking about it as Harrison and I take a page out of Chris and Dan's book and let the lager facilitate some great conversation as we get ready to crack some open for this show, right?
That's right. I'm excited to do it. You start, John. I'm thirsty. So let's start cracking them. But what do you have? What do you enjoying today to celebrate lagers and pilsners and all the great things we're celebrating?
One that I've never had before, but I'm very confident is going to bring the lager heat. That's a bad pun because they're probably colder, but bring the lager chill. Post-shift pilsner from Jack's Abbey, who is a lager. I mean, you've got your Treehouse, you're known for IPAs. Jack's Abbey, in my world, is known for making beautiful lagers. This is a German-style pilsner, 4.7% ABV, brings about 30 IBUs, and rates on Untapped at about 3.5. What they tell us on the beer, which I love, and in Untapped in the description, there'll be no working during drinking hours. On December 10th, the whole day is a drinking hour. So this beer is brewed with Bavarian malt and hops at German style, everyday pilsner, bright, crisp, refreshing. From Jack's Abbey, we think it's the perfect way to end the workday. So clock out and post up and enjoy. Or if you're not working today, just start early. I'm going to pour this into a glass. What are you working on, Harrison?
Yeah, so this is one that I've never had either. And I've heard, and I think I've really never had any beer from, but I keep hearing about. I'm enjoying Von Trapp's Bohemian Pilsner out of Vermont. Cool stuff. This is, look at that. Looking crisp over there. John's got a crispness hanging out for sure.
She's pretty.
Looking good. As is mine. Pillowy and fluffy and everything you want. But to run the specs through real quick. So this is a Czech-style Pilsner from Von Trapp Brewing, 5.4%, 42 IBUs. Makes sense. 3.5 out of 5 on Untapped. And from Von Trapp, our award-winning interpretation of a Bohemian-style Pilsner, spicy citrus peel botanicals combined with a dry, peppery finish to create a truly thirst-quenching lager. Beer that is you more than a sip. I was kind of talking with Chris about that, how Pilsners make you want to keep drinking. That's really almost all I look for in these beers. It's like crisp, delicious, a little bit of herb hops. Let's dive in. You started, John. What's happened over there with post-shift? What are you getting?
When I drink a Pilsner, I often in my head look for it to taste like kind of a Saz hoppy Czech style, almost like with a little bit of green bitterness.
Yep.
And I don't want to judge my Pilsners against that because they're more than just that Czech style Pilsner. And this is, I think, a great example embracing that kind of clean, crisp German style, made in America. Jack's Abbey, you've done it. I mean, every sip, it's like a Lay's potato chip. I take a sip to see what it's like, and I immediately am sad that sip is gone.
Right.
And
the bag's empty.
This tiny little 12-ounce can is this beer deserves like a 19.8 or about.
That's very true.
Give me a big boy. This is delicious.
Right. This should be stovepipes all around. I think this style. That's a good. Probably going to like to do a public office right on that platform alone, John. Stovepipe Pilsners only.
Make your beers bigger. Vote for John.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh man.
How's here? We got a beautiful little Tiku style glass. You're sipping that out of, Harrison.
Happening. It matches my shirt. Yeah, it's delicious. It's perfect. It's got that kind of Czech Pilsners for me. Always had that almost like a funky skunk note, but not dank. It's like funk. It's very herby. That's what's happening here. It's delicious. It's super crisp. It's got that drying mouthfeel that you get from most Czech Pilsners, where you're like, my thirst was quenched, but now I'm thirsty. And how'd that happen? These beers are the ultimate never-ending circle where you're like, I guess I'll take another sip because I'm thirsty again. Delicious. Wait, I'm thirsty again. I guess take another sip. Another check in the column for bigger cans is needed, but this is perfect. It's awesome. It's delicious. An awesome intro to this brewery. Von Trapp, I heard about them from other brewers. So
nice.
In my experience, right, exactly. It's like you have your friends that you trust on most things. Then you have your friends who drink a lot of beer that you trust on most beer things. And then if you're lucky, you have friends that are brewers. And that's a different level of recommendation. Or perhaps maybe not. Hey, that's wrong to compare them all. But they'll oftentimes send me in a different direction. Like someone that I trust may say, fruited sours or pastry stouts, the two styles I always reference. But a brewer may say, you should try this cream ale or this Pilsner or this pale ale. And I'll be like, all right. If you're telling me going out of your way to take time out of your day to tell me about a Pilsner, I should probably drink it. So anyway, this is everything Von Trapp does. I've heard great things about. So not surprising coming out of Vermont, but this is delicious. All right. We said we're going to keep Dan Suarez in mind. The beers are great, but you, I think, have more on your mind this evening to pair with these beers, John. Lots of deep thoughts, deep questions needing answers or something, I'm told.
Yeah, we got a little burning hot seat.
Oh, man. All right.
Not even you could probably say that there's some deep questions in here, but what I was thinking, Harrison, is I used to follow on YouTube when you were doing the hot takes. We've done them periodically throughout the podcast.
Right, we have.
So, in the spirit of great conversation, but no one wants to listen to me and you talk about how I mow my lawn in the perimeter fashion and I go up and down. Look, we don't need to get quite that comfortable, but kind of like maybe a lager caved hot seat. Do you think you could give me, we'll say, 60 seconds to answer some quick fire questions?
Yep, make it as hot as you want. I've got a nice pills here to cool me down. What do you got, John?
Okay, well, I'm going to put an imaginary 60 seconds on the on the board, and what we'll do is we'll start with the first question. Hopefully, we get it done in 60 seconds. Those of you that have a stopwatch, go ahead and hit start right now.
Okay,
Harrison, when you're drinking lagers, do you look for an old standby or something new and exciting?
Old.
Okay. How about this? When you're drinking lagers, are you going to grab the one that's kind of dry hopped or not dry hopped?
Not dry hopped.
Okay, standing by the old. How about this? Can or bottle?
Oh, let's go can. We just said stovepipes all the way
Right.
down.
You're right. They don't make a bottle big enough for Harrison's lagers. So staying on that on that vein, when you're drinking lagers, do you usually have more than 3 or less than 3?
Lagers is that style where I allow myself the elusive 4th beer. So yeah, more.
Hell yeah. What about, drinking lagers? Are you most often, where do you picture yourself when you're drinking those 4 lagers, at home or out at a bar?
I'm asleep in a hammock, or I'm in a parking lot near a large sporting event. I guess I'm not at a bar. I'm somewhere else where maybe you shouldn't be drinking beer.
Perfect. I think that's accurate.
Yep.
What about there's imperial lagers? Are you looking for an imperial, or are you sticking kind of low and slow?
That's not my speed when I'm downshifting to lager land. I don't want imperial. I want slow and low, but a huge can of it.
Yeah. We'll make up the volume.
Right.
Okay, so lagers are brewed colder, generally served a little bit colder versus ales. Even stout sometimes will take up to a proper warm temperature. When you're drinking your lagers, do you like them super cold, or do you go for more of kind of like maybe a couple degrees warmer and go for something more typical?
I go cold, and lager's one of those beers, right, where you can smash them and grab the next one, or you can let it warm up a little bit and kind of hang out with it for a little while longer maybe and see what it does. So I like starting cold. It can always get warmer. It's hard to get colder.
Okay, getting down towards the end, let's try and make the perfect lager for Harrison. Everybody's going to be different. You can try and play along. I'm going to try not to mess this up, but as quick as you can. Harrison, lagers only, Oktoberfest or Vienna lager?
Oh, that should be the finals. Oktoberfest. Oh.
Okay. Schwarzbier or Doppelbock?
Schwarzbier.
Okay. American lager or German Pilsner?
German Pilsner. Whew.
All right. And Maybach or Weizenbach?
Ooh. Wow. Weizenbach. We'll do Weizenbach.
Okay, now we're going into the semifinals here. Oktoberfest versus Weizenbach.
All right. Oktoberfest.
And Schwarzbier versus German Pilsner.
Ooh, Schwarzbier.
Okay, and now for the finale, we've got Oktoberfest versus Schwarzbier.
Man. That horrible man and the accordion's back. I'm going to say Oktoberfest.
I can't disagree. Oktoberfest is the greatest lager ever made. But it turns out, given the choice of most different lagers I can come up with, Oktoberfest is your playoff champion. And cheers to that. It's a delicious beer.
It is a delicious beer. I'll tell you what, though, Schwarzbier is, in my head, it was like, Schwarzbier is a little bit lower ABV than the Oktoberfest. It's checking some of those magical stout boxes, but not being a stout. But ultimately, I just stopped thinking and went with my gut. Oktoberfest all the way down. But that's tough. That's tough. I'm going to be sad about that probably and get some angry letters from the Doppelbach camp. But that's okay. I'll live.
Yeah. Well, no slight against the other ones, but just like having children, you have a favorite, and you wouldn't figure it out unless we just compared apples to apples and got you through them. Do you have? I know you've got a couple of like lagery, like lagery top fives, or is there a couple of lagers that you think of when you're going through your own history, trying to remember some good moments in the cold tanks?
Yeah, so I did that, but just kind of on this run to National Lager Day, look back and Untapped and run through the lagers I rated the highest, trying to see if there was like a clear, what is my favorite lager? Turns out I like a lot of them. So there are a lot of perfect fives in there, but it is what it is. But that's one of the cool things about your profiles. You can jump in there and sort by grab your beers and sort by style, sort by rating, sort by when you had it, all that stuff. And so a couple popped out as being perfect fives. So I had Pony, which is a German Pilsner from Half Acre. I remember that. Great beer. 16-ounce cans, so not quite the 19 plus.
Close though, that's pretty good.
But bigger. Hellas Golden Lager from Sly Fox. So that's one I talked about on the podcast many times. It was like a brew pub only beer, and they put it in cans with the 360 top. We could rip the whole can top off, which is cool. That's one of my favorite beers on Untapped, according to Untapped, like of all time. The Weiss original. That's another one. Again, classic, going back to Germany and way to the past. So there were a lot in there, and I was kind of happy with the mixture of a bunch of German and Czech Pilsners mixed in with a lot of newer American craft lagers. Wasn't too heavy one or the other, but very clear that lager is here to stay, which was never really a question. But I think you and I did a good job this year on the podcast, making it more interesting, or I don't know, just talking about it more, getting people to try them more because you had to level up the badge. So putting lagers out there in a meaningful way and discovering more and more of them. It's been a cool year of the lager, a crisp year of the lager. Yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, I want you to come up with like a Harrisonism there for like a crispy annum. But a crisp calendar. No, we should do a calendar, like a podcast calendar, where it's like me and you posing with lagers. Nah, no one. Nope. Yeah, sorry, I just made you roll your eyes, and you can't unsee that in your head. But
keep looking at it. Keep seeing it in your head. My mom would buy a lot of them just to support us. Right.
Well, okay. In absence of a year of the lager calendar, what else you got for me, Harry?
Yeah, so we got to do a verified venue of the week, and this one is pretty much a no-brainer after talking to Chris. Got to call out halftime 2 locations at Poughkeepsie and Mamaroneck, New York. So as we said, when Chris and I were talking, obviously jump online. They ship tons of states. Go check that out. Make sure your state can get some stuff from halftime. But if you're in New York State, nearby, traveling through, the one in Poughkeepsie is like right off the highway. Same with the one on Mamaroneck. So right on the train way, the railway. That's it. If you're coming out of New York City. Yeah. But these places are amazing. Tons of beer to go. They can't serve on premise because of New York State law, but they do have tons of taps as well. As Chris mentioned, they have a couple of vintages of BCS on at the time we're recording this. But also I saw some like other half stouts and all kinds of crazy things. And if you go to the Mamaroneck location, Decadent Ales is literally next door. It's obviously famous for their pastry stouts and really big beers. So you'd think maybe not the place to go on National Lager Day, but they're hyper aware of how well known they are for really big, crazy beers. So to kind of poke fun at that, they brew a beer, I think all the time, called Regular Beer, which is a Pilsner that you find there too. So it's a great stop for any day, National Lager Day or not. But Regular Beer there, it was available at the time we're recording too. So easy to jump next door to halftime and grab some stuff from Decadent as well.
Can I just get a regular beer? When you're ordering beer from halftime, if you're in one of the states they ship to, you're lucky. Your property values just went up. If you're really fortunate and you're able to go visit halftime, they have one of the things that I'm really jealous that I won't get to drink this year, unless Christmas elves are listening, but I don't want. They may be fake, so you may actually need to go visit them. But if you can get to halftime, they're still selling the Extreme Beer Box from Beer Advocates Extreme Beer Fest. It's going to be happening late in January coming up.
That's
so.
great.
This is a box I was able to get last year through Christmas Elf and Postal Miracles, but such good beers in this box. The one that I want to call out after getting a look at what's in there comes from Mortalis. I don't know how to pronounce it. Froze Hydra Deuce is what I would say.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Mortalis is to fruited beer what Treehouse is to double dry hops.
Yeah.
I think they're doing things so exceptionally well. They've probably got a couple of secret processes or ingredients. This is like cherry vanilla, cinnamon graham cracker. I mean, I like sweets. I like desserts. And Mortalis seems to do both of those things very well in carbonated form. I would buy that box just to get a taste of one of the hottest fruited sour breweries in the world right now. Anything strike your eye, Harrison?
Oh my gosh, so many things, whether it's the 2019 Bourbon Barrel Aged Worldwide Stout from Dogfish, that beer. First time I had that beer, I got it in a mixed 6-pack, and it was like $20 or whatever. I was like, what did I do? But I remember we were at a beach house in Cape May, New Jersey, in a family vacation, and my dad and I were like, let's have a beer before we go to the beach in the morning. Do we have any stouts? And I was like, yeah, I did grab a cool Dogfish Head Stout. And that was like a shower beer before going to the beach all day. It was the 18+% worldwide stout. So many naps were had, but I do kind of remember that and drinking it going, man, this doesn't taste like a normal stout. And then looking down and realizing it was, whatever, 15+%, whatever that year's was. So never forget. Kind of remember that experience. Anyway, that beer has a special place in my heart, obviously, if not completely a full memory. And then the other one that I saw was the something from Modest. I mean, the lists here are crazy. I've not had anything from Japa Cerveceria before. This is not a Caipirinha, an Imperial Sour with yuzu, dachi, and Buddhist
from what I hear. Yep.
So there's so much in here. Again, these boxes are always amazing. Beer Advocate and Halftime do a great job putting together like truly a beer box you just don't want to miss. It is built for beer nerds and beer fans. So it's hard to pick, but sure, that Dogfish Head, right away I just started chuckling to myself. And I'd like to revisit that now as a mature adult in a glass, not at 9 a.m. in the shower going to the beach. But that was a great time. I mean, you're probably all jealous, so you should be.
Yeah, that beer is not even legal to sell in North Carolina. I think it's legal to have and consume. It's not like a controlled substance, but there's a couple of states where you couldn't get beers that high in ABV still, unfortunately. Write your congressman. I am. Fix the beer. Please.
Fix the beer. What are you doing? Just let it happen. Let it in. Free the worldwide stout. Can't be worldwide if you're getting in the way.
Yeah. Bunch of red tape.
That's right.
What cutting through the red tape, Harrison, if we can do that digitally, it's done. That was easy. Easiest red tape to cut through is digital red tape.
True.
Let's get on to, it's been a minute. And we drank some beers. What was the best beer of your last week?
So in the spirit of National Lager Day, I have been enjoying pretty steadily since Thanksgiving Red Oak's Old Oak, which is their Marzen. So Red Oak is this awesome brewery in North Carolina. They follow all the German purity laws, so it's like all natural carbonation, no food additives. It's truly just water, hop, malt, yeast, and beer, and something
and beer.
Malt, hops, beer, water, yeast. Anyway, I think that's all the things. Sure. Yeah, those were 4. Anyway, it's great. It's canned. It was delicious, and that's a tough, as we just learned. That's my favorite kind of lager. So there's obviously a lot of like expectations to be met for me when I drink a Marzen, and this one like went right past exceeded. It was like so good and then a little better than I thought. That's a good way to quantify that. That's repeatable. But in the moment, I was like, yes, ooh, I'm glad I got a 6-pack of this. So that was easy. Best beer of the week for me. Old Oak from Red Oak. If you know about Red Oak, you know. But if you're not in North Carolina, you probably don't, because they don't leave the state. So if you're ever here on vacation and you see that white Red Oak tap handle, their Vienna lager or Bavarian lager out there, grab it. It's delicious. Anyway, yeah, Marzen's all the way down for me. What about you, John? What was the best beer you had last week?
It was also, we knew this day was coming. So for me, it was also a lager. Pancho's Legacy Lager from 12 Gates Brewing in Buffalo. This is kind of like you have to kind of be a local to understand. Half the reason I chose this beer is because it's a Mexican style lager, and I love that kind of corn flavor in my beer. Yep. This one does a great job of that, but also keeps it crisp. And also the sales of this beer are going towards a local charity in honor of Buffalo Bill's biggest super fan ever, who passed away in 2019. So drinking this is a mixture of beer and charity and football, which is nearly perfection in December by my standards, at least.
Indeed. That's amazing. That sounds awesome. Great stuff. Great to hear it. Man, we've been really lager deep, haven't we?
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Yeah, just
deep,
go with it.
Deep in the lager. Yeah.
The lagers.
It's a B movie that was made for TV starring Matthew McConaughey.
Right. But lager deep, right? It was the follow-up to Das Boot that was much better. Lager deep. Lagers in the water. Yeah.
Oh man. So even a small lager can's enough to put Harrison in a good mood. I think any lager puts Harrison in a good mood, and it should you as well. So whether you celebrate National Lager Day with us on December 10th, which is the only day you can celebrate and earn the badge, but you can drink lagers all year, because you should know this has been the year of the lager. December 10th is just the reward that we deserve for crushing clean, crispy boys in our broom closet offices all year long. Make sure you're following us and Untapped on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or if you have an iPhone, you're probably just listening to this on Apple Podcasts, and that's cool too.
Great.
What's coming up next week, Harrison?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, John. I hope I don't lose all my beer trying to ford the river, or that you die of dysentery, because next week it's Brewery Pioneer time. Grab your shovels and whatever, your spurs, your
oxen,
right? Oxen,
boxes.
Fox, yep. In a house with a mouse, with a fox, with some locks. Doesn't matter. Anyway, lagers are working. Until then, everybody, let's get out of here, John. Woo!
All right. To the trail.